Hello my friends, welcome back. I decided that I'm going to do a ranking type video today. For those of you that follow me on Instagram, you probably saw my story. When I'm filming this, the story was last night, but I had said, just kind of different ideas of what types of videos you all would want to see, and this was one that a lot of people actually wanted to see. Anyways, so I'm kind of a loser, and as some of you probably have noticed, I'm a bit of a sports junkie, but we're almost into March, and that means it's almost time for March Madness. For those of you that aren't familiar, March Madness is what the college basketball tournament is referred to as, and in March Madness, they have like, well, it's kind of complicated to break it down, but essentially like 60 some odd teams, for the ease of explaining it. They have 60 some odd teams that play each other and then dwindle down obviously to the final four. But as it dwindles down, you have the Sweet 16, the Elite Eight, the final four, and then the championship game. So what I thought would be kind of fun would be to do like March Madness style showdown of my eyeshadow palettes. But what I want to do first is throughout the season they have an AP kind of top 25, so the Associated Press poll top 25 ranking of teams, and so I'm going to do my top 25 palettes today, and then I'm going to create a bracket for my palettes for the first through 16th place palettes that I'm going to talk about, because I don't have 60 some odd, like I couldn't do the full thing, that was overwhelming, but we're gonna go from Sweet 16 and down. So we're gonna get started. We're gonna start with 25 and work our way up to number 1. Number 25 is the Strawberry Dream palette from Lunar Beauty. This is just for those of you not familiar, it is a mostly pink palette. You have like that really yellowy gold and then the blues in there. Oh my gosh, and it smells heavenly. It smells like, Raw Beauty Christy actually pointed it out. It smells like that, those popsicles, that like the strawberry shortcake kind. It smells so good. But yeah, so I actually have close to 50 eyeshadow palettes. So the top 25, these are like my top half of my eyeshadow palettes I have. I have other palettes that I really like. So I like all of these. It felt weird when I was trying to like figure out what to say for each one of them. I felt like the lower ones, I had to explain why they weren't higher, but really I'm just going to talk about what I like about these palettes. So I really like that this one is, you have all the different shades of pink. It smells divine. Just all the shades, everything performs well. It's beautiful. I love that color, the lightning shade. It ends up reflecting really pretty, and yeah, I love this palette, and the packaging is so beautiful. Now, coming in at number 4, we have the new nude palette from Huda Beauty. So this palette is mainly nude shades, but it has like a lot of like pinks and purples and like these warm toned kind of nudes. There are 2 pressed glitter shades, which I don't love, but I mean the rest of the shades in this palette are super beautiful. These shimmery shades are stunning. They're the ones that have like the white, it looks like white chunks in them, but really when you put it on, I don't even know if this is going to focus, but do you see how shiny? Let's see if we can kind of see it hopefully, but like see how pretty those look, and they're just like so metallic, so reflective. I love them. So that is number 24. Okay, so number 23 is the California Love palette from ColourPop. This is a very I don't want to call it basic, but it's a very warm toned neutral palette. It's a color scheme we see a lot. There's not a whole lot that's unique to it, but the shimmer shades in here just perform so beautifully. This color I actually used to hate. I think they're called sequin shades, where they're the matte with the glitters in them. I used to hate those, and then I started using the ones in the ColourPop palettes, and I actually really like the way they perform. So that and this one too also has 1 pressed glitter shade, so again that's a little bit annoying because glitter isn't eye safe no matter what you if you put glitter down, if you put primer down, no matter what you do, glitter is just not eye safe, and so I just am never going to do that. But anyway, yeah, this is California Love. Also, just a side note, this looks so beautiful when I'm like very bronzed and tanned. Not that I get that tan because I'm very pale, but when you do have a tan, this is a very nice bronze glowy palette. Next up is number 22, and this is the Lunar Beauty Life's a Drag palette. My other Lunar Beauty palettes are higher up, so like, sorry Manny, I hope, not that you're watching this or would be watching this and seeing that your palettes are down this low, but anyway, this is the Life's a Drag palette. This was the first palette that came out for Lunar Beauty. I was obsessed, so this came out in 2018, I think. I was obsessed with these like neutral-ish shades over here. I loved like the look, like using all of them. And then I think it's so cool that he has the matte white and the matte black, because you can really, you know, create dimension and depth with these colorful shades as well. This was my first palette that like really had like bright, colorful eyeshadows in it. So I was, you know, it holds a special place in my heart for that reason. I think the only reason it's not higher up, because I actually really do love this palette, the only reason it's not higher up is because I have had it for almost 2 years now. And so, you know, the kind of the newness, freshness of it has worn off. But overall, you know, every time I come back and do another, you know, look with this palette, I'm just like, oh, I need to use this more. I love it so much. So now we have number 21 is the Good Sport palette, another ColourPop palette. This one, I think I said in my eyeshadow collection video that I dropped it in the shades. I wasn't sure if I rearranged the shades or not, and I confirmed that I did. But it's, you know, overall you have kind of these greens, the yellowy shades, purples, you know, those warm tone kind of browns, almost oranges. I really love the color scheme of this palette. It's perfect for when I do my makeup for Arizona State games. I really feel like I, you know, between this like, this is almost like a maroon and that yellow, like those are Arizona State's exact colors. I don't know if you can see right there. This is definitely my go-to palette for looks like that. Okay, so next up is number 20. This is the ABH X Carly Bible palette. I've actually watched a lot of these eyeshadow review videos, and I feel like this palette always gets kind of like hated on in those, and I really like it. I will say that there is, well, I'll say a couple of things. First, I do think that Jode and OA are so similar that they didn't both need to be in the palette. I think one would have been sufficient. There isn't a huge difference that's detectable like on the eye between the two of them. I mean, obviously this one has a little bit more of the like different colored reflex. It's a little bit more glittery than that one is, but I don't think you need both in the palette. So that's essentially the one complaint I have. I will say that part of what helped me to really like this palette and get into it is there is a Instagram, I think it's Mandy, MANDYS Berry, BERI. I'll try and remember to put it in the description box down below. She reorganizes palettes, so she'll like move the colors around, and she put all the mattes you know, on the bottom row together. And when I saw that, I thought, oh my gosh, that would be like such, like all the mattes in this palette would make such a pretty look together. So I just thought, you know, that helped me to really want to use this palette more, I should say. And at first I was hesitant to buy it because I hated the packaging, and I still don't like, I don't love it. I don't hate it either. It's kind of cool because it's like raised, but it's not like 100% my style. Anyway, what are we on? 19. Number 19 is the Riviera palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills. And we're actually on a little bit of an Anastasia kick here, so there's going to be a couple more Anastasia palettes. Anyway, this is another very bright, colorful palette. I really love this Mediterranean shade. Palermo's also beautiful. Again, the mattes perform well. It's an Anastasia palette. It performs, you know, like the other ones do. This one is, I just think, so beautiful. I don't really use the Seychelles color. I have a hard time figuring out what to do with that. And I tried to, when I do looks, like stick to one palette, but that one I might need to dip into some others to get that one going. Number 18 is the Modern Renaissance palette. I told you guys we're on an Anastasia kick for a second here. This is like the classic palette. I feel like everybody is obsessed with this palette. Everybody loves this palette. You know what this one's about. I think it's if you're new to makeup and you want to do more neutral looks and be able to have some of these fun colors kind of incorporated in, this is a really good palette to kind of start with to get, you know, into the, you know, just different shades that aren't just browns or, you know, what have you. It's fun. It's a classic. Yeah. So next up is the ABH Norvina Volume 2 Mini. I said Volume 3 in my video like 6 times that I just did with this palette, but it's Volume 2. But this one I just love. I love the color story on it. It's bright, it's fun. This shade in the middle, I feel like it looks really brown, but it honestly, when you, every time I do a look with it, it ends up pulling more orange, and I just think it's so pretty. Yeah, I don't have any complaints. I think this is a fun, cute little palette to create colorful looks with. This is number 16. So, you know, I mentioned this from here on out will be a who's included in our Sweet 16. So this is number 16. This is the Natasha Denona Safari palette. It is an all matte palette. I can't, because it's like plastic, I can't turn it back, so hopefully the mirror doesn't reflect too bad. I recently bought this on sale from Sephora because my no buy isn't going well. Don't judge me. But I've wanted this palette for so long, and then when it went on sale I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna buy it. I really love the shades in it. I've done a look with just this bottom row so far, but when I swatched them, they felt amazing. Everything about them is beautiful, and I'm just like really inspired by it and really like it, and I love the idea of an all matte palette. So that's why I ranked this one higher. Part of it, I think a lot of the allure of it is the newness of it, but I just think the shade formula is so pretty, and so that's why it did end up going higher. But I want to use it more, and I felt like to have it be included in this series that I'm doing would be, you know, fun. So anyway, that's why. And this is my channel, and I can do whatever I want to. Next up is number 15, and that is the Millennial Pinks palette from Melt Cosmetics. I just could die over this packaging, although it's getting dirty already, but it is so pretty. It's just such a pretty color. And then the shades in here are just such beautiful pinks, and then I love the darker gray and black and silver just to kind of mix it up. I think is so fun, but I love this palette. I think it's so pretty, and you know, pretty in pink, and it's just fun, and I have like every look I've seen people do with it I love, and you know, I just want to play around with it more. Then we have the number 14, we have the Soft Glam palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is a very just like warm toned neutral palette. You have some, you know, pinky shades in this, you know, in this dusty rose shade that are a little bit, you know, more purple than just like a warm tone kind of brown. Same with that mulberry shade. So it just adds a little bit more to the palette, but overall I love this palette. It's, you know, so easy to create beautiful looks with, and definitely, you know, beginner friendly. Then 13 is the Greek Goddess palette from Lunar Beauty. This one is another warm toned neutral palette, but it's so beautiful. Every shade performs so well. It's just stunning. I love the color story. I love everything about this palette, and obviously, I mean, the packaging is that matte black, so it does get pretty dirty, but I mean, just the front of it is so pretty, and I love it. Then coming in at number 12 is the Vita palette from Melt Cosmetics. So this is what the Vita palette looks like. It's just, I gotta say, when I first saw this palette, it came out with the Muerte palette as a part of their Amor Eterno collection, and I know I'm super white in the way that I say that, like I'll acknowledge that. I didn't take Spanish in high school, so my accents aren't very good. Anyways, I wasn't as attracted or, you know, intrigued by this palette. I really wanted the Muerte palette, but the fact that they kind of connected together, which I'll show you in a second. But I just liked that look, that like I just had to have both. And then I thought, you know, it doesn't hurt to have this. But then like as I have used this palette more, I just feel like that could be such a stunning like eyeshadow, and then you even include that, and it's like so pretty, where you could kind of like go that way and go a little bit more fun with it. And I just feel like there's so many different looks you could actually do with this palette, and so I'm definitely wanting to play with it more. So this is the Muerte palette, and this is actually number 11 on our list. Okay, 11. Okay, and then so they combine like this, and they make this beautiful skull, which is so pretty. And the Muerte palette, when I did my eyeshadow collection, I said this is one of my favorite palettes I think of all time, and it really is. I just, because of the color story in it, I like can't use it all that often. Like, these are very specific colors, but I love them. They're so beautiful. I love, like, I don't think we'll see a color story like this. I mean, maybe if we see one again, it's because of the success of this palette, but this is not a color story that we've seen before. And so just the uniqueness of it and everything is so, you know, was just exciting. I don't know. It's still really inspiring and beautiful, and I want to use it more. And maybe it's not as high up on my list now because we're getting into springtime and summertime, and so I'm looking for more like bright colored shadows. And maybe if we did this again in like the fall or winter, this would come out more on top. I don't know. So at number 10 we have the Norvina Volume 1 palette collection. The Norvina Collection Volume 1 palette. This one again has the hard, so I can't really turn this back without the camera reflecting in off the mirror, so I'm going to try and show it if you can see it. But this palette, obviously you have a lot of purples, and then there's some other pops of color in there. I just think there's a lot of variety of looks that you can do with this palette, and so definitely a lot of inspiration comes from looking at that, and I feel like it challenges me to, you know, do different looks with my makeup. And honestly, like I love purple eyeshadow. Like, I am a hoe for purple eyeshadow, and like I want to be Daphne from Scooby-Doo so bad. But anyway, so these purples are like, this is why I bought this one. She came out with all three, and I was like, I had to have this one, and it took me a while to buy the third one because they're expensive, but I like needed the one with all the purple shadows like right away. Number 9 is actually Norvina Collection Volume 3 palette. This one I got later. I did want it when it came out, especially because it has so many like fall-ish-esque colors. But like I said, I love purple eyeshadow, so I got the other one first. This one has some purples in there, and actually the like more neutral shades I think are so pretty, and all of the shimmers in this one are just so beautiful. I really do love this color story. Every look I've done with this palette I think is just stunning, and I don't know, it kind of surprised me. I like I said, I really liked the Volume 1 because of the purples, and then this one I wasn't as attracted to. I still wanted it because of all the different colors in it, and I think it's still very pretty, but I actually I really like this one. And so that's why I ended up ahead of the purple one. Even though I love purple eyeshadows, that one, the Volume 3 is a little slightly ahead because I feel like there's a lot more variety, and I like the looks that I do a little, not more. I just, with the Volume 1, I go towards that same purple look every time, whereas I feel like I do a lot of different things with Volume 3. Anyways, so I was 10, 9, number 8. This is the Huda Beauty Desert Dusk palette. I said I was a hoe for purple eyeshadow, and those two together to just do a very simple look are beautiful. This one also has a pressed glitter, or a pressed glitter, a pressed glitter shadow in there. So again, not a huge fan of that, but just overall I think this palette's really beautiful. Love using it. Next up is number 7. This is the Moonspell palette from Lunar Beauty. I have it still in the box because it makes this cool, looks like just kind of like a book. I mean, this looks like a book, but I just feel like, I don't know, I like it in the box. Most of the time I don't keep my boxes, but this one I did. This is the palette, this packaging, like, I could die. Manny always kills the packaging. Anyways, this is the inside of the Moonspell palette. So again, we got a whole row of purple eyeshadows. You guys might start to notice a theme with these palettes that make it towards the top. There may or may not be a purple eyeshadow in all of them. But also this row, I just feel like it's a fun, like, I don't know, it just, the looks with, even with the neutral colored eyeshadows just come out different, I think because they have different tones to them. These greens are fun. This teal, it looks like just like your basic teal, but it has like a black base, so it's this very dark teal on the eye, and I just think overall I just love this palette. I think it's so beautiful. So that was 7. Now we're on to 6, and that is the Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde palette. So this is another plastic one that I can't pull back all the way, but we may or may not have some purpley shades in here. But overall, I just think this is such a pretty, it's like mostly neutral, but you have some fun pops of color, and I just love the color story on this. I just love it. The shimmers, I mean, are great. I don't feel like I've ever had an issue with Huda's shimmer. These glitters are kind of interesting because they're like more toppers. I already have the other ones on here. Let's see if we'll go at the bottom. Do you see how they're not, that one's pretty pigmented. Actually, it's almost like the same color as that, but that one's not quite as pigmented. So it looks really pretty with other eyeshadows, like if you put it on top of other colors in here. So like, let me give you an example. I'm just gonna put this shade Haze over it first, and then we'll go back in. It's Supermoon is the white one. Okay, that didn't go as well as I thought it. When I do it on my eye, I feel like it looks better than it does on the back of my hand. But you can kind of see it like sort of makes it gives Haze that matte shade, more of like a metallic look to it. I don't know. I think it's fun. It's cool. Different, not something I have in all my other palettes. And that's really all I'm looking for. Now we're rounding out our top 5. So number 5 is the Born to Run palette from Urban Decay. When this palette first came out, I thought, boring, and I didn't want to buy it. I wasn't turned on by it. I watched a lot of videos with people using it, and I thought, oh, you know, I thought all the looks looked good, and you know, I didn't have any issues with them. It's not like I thought like, oh, it performs terrible, or oh, they do bad eye looks. I just thought like wasn't that into it. Well, then I had a friend who messaged me when it went on sale and said that it's her favorite eyeshadow palette and I should get it, and so I bought it because I was like, okay, yeah, if you think that if that is something that stands out to you. And she had said she loves using Punk. I think she had said it as a liner shade. I don't remember. But anyways, I love this palette. I love using it. I love all the looks. My one issue is that it's mostly shimmers. There's not a lot of mattes. And so as far as like the looks I do with it, they all tend to kind of be similar in the sense of like a neutral crease, and then I just put one shimmery shade kind of across my lid, or like multiple shimmery shades, but like they're mostly shimmery looks. There's not a lot of mattes in the palette, so you can't really do like a more matte to shimmer ratio. But when I do looks with this, like this green all over the lid, beautiful. Same with this purple, love it. I love this palette. Number 4 is the Berries and Cream palette from Dominique Cosmetics, and this one is that shade, that purple. That's it. There we go. That's the extent. I love that. The Sweet Cream shade is also a very pretty, like very light pale pink. Just this blueberry muffin shade, everything in here is just beautiful. And but yeah, that purple, that bittersweet shade, that purple is. Number 3 is the Gemini palette from Melt Cosmetics. This is just speaks for itself. I live for this green with that black, like, oh, so beautiful. This brown side is pretty too. I just feel like, and it has different tones, so it's a little bit unique, but I just think this is like, I don't see that color scheme in any other palette, and I just think it's so pretty. Number 2 is the So Jaded palette from ColourPop. This is their collaboration with Kathleen Lights, and this bad boy is one of the bigger palettes as well. Just all jewel tones. I love jewel tones. I actually kind of prefer to do my eyeshadow with jewel tones, so everything in this palette really, you know, spoke to me. The ametrine shade is just stunning. There are 2 pressed glitters in here. There's the opal and topaz. I'm pretty sure, let me see. Yeah, only Topaz is listed as not eye safe, so I don't know if somehow Opal is eye safe for eye use. I'm not sure. I haven't used it yet because I'm still hesitant to put glitters on my eyes, especially because I had an issue with my eyes and something getting into them, and so just risking it by putting glitters in there just doesn't seem like something that I really want to do. Now, here is the #1 eyeshadow palette. If you guys watch my eyeshadow collection video, I bet you can guess which one it is, because I said it was my favorite eyeshadow palette in there, and it's still true. It is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Jackie Aina palette. I mean, look at that, you know, like, look at it. It's just such, you get such a variety. Yes, there's the purple shades in there. The purple shades are not my favorite shades in here. Not that they're bad, I just mean there's other shades I like more. So even though I love purple eyeshadow, that's not what makes this palette for me. Pinker and Sponsored are, in my opinion, the 2 best eyeshadow colors ever. Like, I don't think I could love any other ones anymore. And I'm not even too pan yet on either one. This one's Sponsored's getting a little bit low, and I'm debating buying another one of these just so I can have it as a backup, because I will be devastated if I lose Sponsored and I can't, use anything like it, because I love this palette. So, all right, that is that is all top 25. So I'm going to insert the bracket that I made because, like I said, I'm a loser. And what I'm thinking I'm going to do is kind of do videos where we do a look on one eye with one palette, a look on the other eye with the other palette, and then decide which one I like best, and then we kind of narrow it down for our winner of our playoff palette tournament, I guess is what our March Madness for eyeshadow. So let me know which one of these you hope to see win, which one's your favorite, if any of these are your favorite. And yeah, I will see you guys next time. Bye.